Hey there, Knicks fans. The NBA season is back, and while teams continue to find their footing, our partners at Fanatics Sportsbook are already running championship plays. Bet with Fanatics and earn up to 10% fan cash on your bets, win or lose. So even if your bet misses, you're still scoring fan cash, which you can use on NBA gear, tickets, and exclusive Fanatics events. With fair play, if your player goes down injured in the first half, your bet stays live. Make the switch and get more ways to win with Fanatics Sportsbook. Winning, it's different here. All right. Hey there, Knicks fans. It's your boy Jonathan Macri with you for another edition of the Knicks Film School Beat Report, where I am pleased to be joined for the first time. I've been doing this. I'm too old. I am been doing this for 8 years. Somehow this is the first time I have had Stefan Bondy, now, of course, of the New York Post. How long have you been at the Post?
Since 2023, so almost 3 years.
Was there an actual pair of Mark Berman's shoes that you had to step in to fill when you walked into the office?
I couldn't even pretend to do that. I would never try. He's his own, he's a legend in his own way. And he did a beat uniquely. I mean, everywhere I go, people still bring him up. So that's kind of the lasting impact he had.
Yeah, and the Knicks uniquely lost for the entirety of his time.
Not his fault, but he got blamed for a lot of it.
I can't imagine why. We got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of interesting stuff with this team. But before we get to any of that, I have to start off. I would be remiss if I started anywhere other than this. So way back in the day, before COVID, I guess that season stopped because of COVID. I was lucky enough to cover the team in person for what was then, I guess, Knicks Sports Illustrated for I don't know, 10 games that season, whatever it was. And I mentioned this on the pod, but I have to just do it with you here. Of everybody who was everybody was nice and everything, you went out of your way to indoctrinate me, even though I wasn't a real beat reporter. I was some kid who didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And you were just show me around, always making sure, do you need anything, this and that. And I just, that always meant so much to me. And I just wanted to say thank you before we got into anything else.
Nah, that was great. I mean, listen, when you see people on social media and, in different, online, it's different when you meet people in person. It's great to put faces behind all this stuff. And, you're a good dude, man. I learned that, meeting you. So, and by the way, your intro song, I'm mad I never got on the show before, but that intro song's cool, man. Isn't it
good?
Yeah.
I'm trying. Oh my God. It's been so long. I think Andrew Claudio found that.
All right.
Yeah.
I was grooving.
Okay. It's not bad. We have some good music here. All right. Speaking of grooving, the Knicks won one game in a row. 2 out of 3. I guess they're grooving. Although I don't know. You listen to fans and it doesn't. I'm not sure how many people feel that way. So I'm just gonna start kind of generally. What's up with this team? Because they were really rolling for a while. It felt, if you were the sort of fan that likes to buy into stuff, you could really have sunk your teeth into the Mike Brown era, and this team has an inevitability about it, winning games at the last minute, winning some big games, winning games by a lot of points. And then things have now kind of, whatever. Stuff's been going on, whether it's Hart being out, whether they're tired from the cup, whether there's other stuff going on. So I don't know. What's going on with this team, Steph?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there are a lot of similarities to last season. I think the bonus here compared to last season is that the Eastern Conference is not as strong. And, hanging over the season was Boston last season. You don't really have that. And you could really say that the Knicks, even in this current state, are the favorite to come out of the East. The big bugaboo, the big concern for me, and it's been since day one, is trying to figure out how to maximize Cat, because you have this all-star talent offensively. From day one, it's been just a struggle to get him going.
Day
And
one of this season or
game,
day
game,
one?
game one of this season. Game one
Okay.
of this season, you're hearing stuff that it was right off the bat. He had problems with the system, with his role, and he's still trying to figure it out. And it's not all on the Knicks. I know they've made a bunch of tweaks already to try to get him going, and he's got to find his own way. He's an all-star talent, and it just hasn't been a good season for him right now.
So it's funny you say that, because the last one of these beat reports I had Steve Popper on, your longtime colleague, and he ruffled some feathers in the fan base because the team was really winning at that time. And towards the end of the conversation, I asked him, I was like, how's the locker room? How's the culture? And he kind of was like, and he didn't say this, to be very clear. Very clear. He didn't say this, but I kind of suspected in my mind. I'm like, Cat before the season talking about, I don't know what my role is. So do you, when you bring up Cat, do you see this as more of an on-court problem, or
Yeah, it's not, he's not a nuisance in the locker room or anything like that. I do think that if you look at the locker room leaders, it's still Josh and Jalen. But yeah, it's not like he's a problem in the locker room or anything. I think it's an on-court issue, and that just bleeds into, if you're struggling, that bleeds into your mood. That changes how you perceive things. So, listen, there's been times when he's gotten going and he's looked great, and you could certainly argue he's still an all-star. So that's the kind of bar we're putting him at, that he's struggling, but could still make the all-star team. But I think that if you're looking in the long term and you're looking in the playoffs, and if you decide, hey, this is the guy we want as our number 2 scorer, that's a big question mark, is trying to unlock him and try to figure him out. I think when I remember, in the playoffs, Cat really didn't, Cat was pretty good, but you left wanting more. And then when they hired Mike Brown, the idea was, well, Mike can really unlock Karl-Anthony Towns, but he's gone the other direction.
So I was going to say, like, look, there was a lot of reporting around the coaching search. We don't need to go back over it. I came out of that wondering, of course, every fan wants to believe, like, oh, Mike Brown, they were sold on every aspect of his vision. And then there was another part of it was like, he was the guy left standing after they kept knocking on doors, and, that was the door that opened. Like, do you think, well, I'll phrase it this way. How big a factor do you think, like, maximizing Cat, I'll just say that, was in the idea behind hiring a guy who, like, did certain things in Sacramento, Sabonis, the whole thing?
I think it was more of a secondary thing, but you're right. I mean, it's good that you bring up Sabonis, because I think at the beginning of the season, they had this idea and vision of him playing a Sabonis type role.
Yeah.
And it really, it hasn't worked out as much for different reasons. But I think we you mentioned it, we've gone through it a lot. Everybody's gone through it. Collaboration was a huge part of why they fired THIBS and brought in Mike Brown. And the idea was, if you get more voices involved, that it would help everybody, and everybody will feel wanted and appreciated, and everybody will get to make their imprint on this team. So I think that was more a part of it than just unlocking Cat. And and also what Dolan said the other day is, getting a deeper rotation and developing the young players a little bit more.
You brought up Dolan. I wasn't even going to bring it up, but since you brought it up, like, not every day you hear an NBA owner come out and be like, we got to make the finals. Not we should, not we could, we gotta. Did that register at all within the locker room?
No, because I think that's been kind of the message to the players all along. It was the first time anybody said it publicly. I liked it. I think, you built this, you've kind of said on this plan of when Leon took over 2020. So it's been, this 5-year plan. This is it. Like,
yeah, it's your
it's Steinbrenner-esque. You come out and you say what you want. And, I kind of like that. Everybody's kind of been dancing around the idea that we're title contenders. Nobody has said it. And then when you have the owner come out and say it, it really puts, a real definition on what this season should be. So I liked it.
Yeah, I wondered at the time. Like, to me, it was just interesting because I always wonder, I always worry about like making things more difficult than they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, nobody's like, there's no misgivings about what the expectation is this season, and there's also, frankly, no misgivings about like James Dolan has expectations, and we know what happens when he has expectations. So it's like whether he said it or not, it doesn't change anything. Probably, you make a good point. Speaking
And
of the pressure,
when you fire THIBS, but I mean, it wasn't stated out loud. That's what the goal was. You fire a guy that's got to the conference finals. Obviously, you have to get to the finals. So I think he was just stating the obvious, but I like that it's out there.
So it is out there. The team is, you know, I don't know. What would you give him this season? A B plus? He might, something like that.
B plus, somewhere in that range. Yeah,
sure. Because there is so much pressure on them and to take advantage of the Eastern Conference this year. Again, we'll see what happens with the Tatum thing. I think that's kind of hovering over everything. Mm-hmm. Like, I have been under this impression that Leon Rose is set on this core. And to me, firing THIBS was almost doubling down on like, this is the core. We believe in this core. Do you think that there is anything that could happen before the trade deadline that would shake that? Like, we're not talking about the fringes. We'll get to that in a bit, but like shake that part of the belief.
Yeah. And I you know, when Dolan said, I forgot his exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, I don't expect a major move, but Leon can overrule me. That's, to me, it was a smokescreen. I think that if Giannis Antetokounmpo jars loose, and the Knicks can get him, I still think that's always a possibility. That's kind of hanging over everything. I know Giannis said recently, he told The Athletic that he is not going to demand a trade. And if he doesn't come out strongly and does not demand a trade, then I don't think the Bucks are going to trade him. So that was kind of been, you know, what people around the league have been saying all along, that Giannis doesn't want to be a bad guy. And there's certainly a possibility that he's never going to come out outright and say, give me a trade. He's not going to do the James Harden or the Kevin Durant or whatever. But if he does, then I still think that that's always a possibility, just because he is the best player in the Eastern Conference. He's probably the second best player in the NBA, third best for sure. And so, yeah, I mean, he's hanging over the proceedings, but other than him, I don't see a major shakeup.
Again, since you brought him up, what do you have any idea what Leon's approach? Because clearly Giannis's people put out whatever they put out this summer. Like, do you know how, like, so Leon hears that. I have always been, again, under the impression that like he did not think the Bucks were ever going to trade him this summer, so he approached it with that mentality. Do you think I'm wrong, or do you have, what insight do you have?
Sorry, so who didn't think the Bucks were going to trade Leon?
I didn't think that like that got out there. Leon or Giannis's people were like,
right.
They put this out there, and if you're Leon Rose at that point, you either think that Giannis might get traded this past summer, or you think the Bucks are not going to move him now. So let me just kind of do my due diligence, but like in terms, as opposed to like turning over every stone to try to make this happen right now. Like, do you get what I'm trying to get at here?
I think here's what I know. I know that there were, like, despite what Dolan said, he said, not that I know of, there were talks with the Bucks in the summer, but the Knicks were left with the impression that the Bucks were not serious about trading Giannis. And then I've seen reporting from the other end saying that the Bucks felt like the Knicks weren't serious about getting Giannis. So it sounds like those negotiations went absolutely nowhere, but their talks were had.
Okay. Going back to Cat, because it always comes back to Cat. How much do you think buy-in is still an issue for him? It just is an issue for him.
Buy-in.
Or happiness, or just like,
yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's got to be frustration. The minute stuff where, you know, he's coming out of the game right away, it's tougher to get in a groove. You know, I think it's on both sides, and both sides have said this, and it is true. You have a unique talent that can't seem if he's fouling too much offensively. It doesn't seem like he's being put in the right positions. But part of that is just on him. Like, he's got to be more physical, getting down low. He's got to get the ball in better spots. Maybe try posting up every now and then. I think it is on both sides. I don't think it's a buy-in issue, but I do think that we're now half a season in, so I am getting pretty concerned that this is still an issue, because it doesn't feel like there's been much progress there. There's progress from week to week sometimes, but it feels like we're always back to where we started.
I mean, did your eyebrows raise at all when he didn't come back in the game against Portland?
Eyebrows raised. Yeah. I mean, I wrote about it. I asked Mike Brown about it.
That's why I asked.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that if that continues to happen, that's going to be more of an issue. I think Mike Brown, though, is very cognizant, and this is what separates Mike Brown from Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau was his philosophy was always, oh, you don't like your role, or you're mad about your minutes. I don't give a shit. If we're winning, it's going to all fix it all. Like, all the problems will be fixed by us winning. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter. Like, you can have whatever problems you're having with whatever. It doesn't matter. Mike is more cognizant of that stuff, and he has people in his ear telling him, hey, this guy is having a little bit of a problem with this. You should probably look into it or try to fix it. So I expect Mike Brown to address certain things and try to keep everybody happy.
The funny thing about what you just said, though, and again, correct me, I have always perceived that Thibs had like a dividing line between stars and everybody else. And if you were above the line, he would, I don't say cater to you, but like Julius didn't defend. His teammates left about it openly, and yet Thibs kind of would look the other way. It felt like Cat did really well under Thibs, but again, to your point, he had that attitude about him.
And I will say that the other day I wrote a story about how Mike Brown has been, allowing players to bring their families along more on road trips. They went to Abu Dhabi, they went to Vegas. They brought him to Sacramento. So, this is something that's, oh no, they were in San Antonio. Sorry, San Antonio for New Year's. So anyway, I went to Cat with this story, and he was like, yeah, I just want to let you know that Thibs did the same thing. And more so than any other player, I've heard Cat defending and talking positively about Thibs, even when Thibs isn't even brought up. Really?
Mm-hmm. Huh. Man, we could go down a whole rabbit hole that I'm not going to go down right now. We'll maybe save that for your off season. You said like you're starting to get concerned. I think fans are concerned. I'm a little concerned because you can't have your highest paid player be, I don't know, not maximized. So, like, I guess the only question I would have regarding this, then we can maybe get into some trade deadline stuff. What is the other shoe to drop? And is there another shoe to drop before I don't think there is another shoe to drop, I guess, before the deadline. Do you see anything differently, or is this just basically like they're going to play the season out with Cat, do what they can, and then address it in the offseason?
I think so. I mean, I haven't heard anything differently. I mean, I brought up Giannis before. I would assume Cat would be part of that if that ever happened, but I don't see that happening right now. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything saying that they're trying to trade him or anything like that, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, no, not that they're like trying to, but I guess like, so what is it? It's January 13th, so the deadline's in 3.5 weeks. Like, for instance, there was a Jaren Jackson Jr. report, I think, from Kelly Eco of Yahoo that was like, maybe the Grizzlies would move him. Like, how, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how shocked would you be? It would be a 10 out of 10 if they if you heard that they had a discussion or something about Cap before the deadline.
Would I be shocked? No, I wouldn't be. I mean, I've seen a million things happen in this league. I wouldn't be totally shocked, but I haven't heard anything about that. I'll say that. But
that makes sense.
That doesn't mean, I don't hear a lot of things that happen. It just kind of, I'm like, damn, that was happening. That makes me sound like a bad reporter, but sometimes it just happens, and I haven't heard it. I haven't got any inkling that it was going to happen at all.
Listen, it's a league, as we always say, it's a league where Luka Doncic could get traded. So
there you go. Speaking of which, I was at the Lakers Kings game last night.
How was it?
There were 3 visiting teams in Sacramento at the same time. The Lakers, the Knicks, and the Rockets, which was why the Rockets couldn't get a hotel room.
I didn't know that story until somebody told me yesterday. That's absolutely hysterical. I guess they need to build more hotels in Sacramento.
Yeah, yeah. And I tried to catch up with Precious Achiuwa, and he played me out. So Precious, if you're watching, I'll remember that, buddy.
Precious, if you're watching, please subscribe, rate, and review. Big shot from Precious, by the way. Corner three to kind of
the dagger and the weird celebration. I was gonna ask him all about that, but he had other plans.
His loss.
Yeah.
Trade deadline. It's like I said, we're about 3.5 weeks away, whatever it is. Would you be surprised if the Knicks did not make some sort of a move before the deadline?
A little surprised. I think that I've been hearing forever now about the backup point guard situation, and it seems like you see Tyler Kolek sometimes, and you're like, oh, he can definitely do that. They should not make a move, and then other times you're like, oh no, they need another ball handler. And the last few games when Josh Hart did not play, I think that you talk about eye-opening. That was eye-opening that they weren't even able to break presses or bring the ball up, and it really was a strain on Jalen. So I do still think that they're going to bring in a backup point guard. If you trade Yabusele, you still need I still think you need another backup front court player as well. So it is going to be interesting. It depends how much faith the Knicks or whomever have in guys like Diawara and McCullough, and how much belief they have that those guys can fill the roles if they do trade Yabusele. So I would be a little bit surprised if there's not a move.
That was my other question. Do you think the Yabusele ship has fully sailed? I mean, he had, I would argue, his best game of the season before he had, I don't know. What is this illness he has? Or do we not know?
It's not an illness. I think it's a
quad. It isn't? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a quad contusion or something.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's my bad. But yeah, do you think that ship has sailed, or do you think there's still a possibility he works his way into the rotation?
I mean, ship has sailed is relative. I think that they're trying to move him. I think I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing he'd welcome a change of scenery just because it got so off track here. He played well last season in Philly. He had a big role, so he has high expectations for himself. And it just from the beginning, it just hasn't worked out here. So the problem is that if he does have a player option for next year, and if the Knicks don't find somebody to take him on, that without attaching draft capital, a second round pick or whatever, a good second round pick, then maybe the Knicks don't make a move and say, we'll hold on to you and we'll wait until we can find a better deal in the offseason or something like that. So when you ask if the ship has sailed, I think the better question is, what can they get back for him?
I think that's obvious. Other than Yabusele and again, Pacome Dadie's contract is there, maybe that's a piece. Anywhere else you're looking in terms of either someone that they would take calls on, or other than the backup point guard position, do you think that they might want another big, because of Mitchell Robinson's health, anything like that?
No, but I do watch. I'm going to watch Mitchell Robinson's situation because it's been talked about a lot, but it is true. He is the only top 7 player in the rotation on an expiring contract.
Yep.
Leon Rose, we know Leon Rose's history with what he does with expiring contracts. He either signs them to extensions or he trades them. The lone exception, maybe it wasn't lone, but the exception was Mitchell Robinson in 2022 when he re-signed. He became an unrestricted free agent.
I think it is the lone exception in terms of a player that was well, I mean, unless you count a Precious Achiuwa or something, but that's I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I think it became the philosophy from both sides, we're not going to get an extension now because the Knicks weren't willing to go very high based on his injury history. So they're going to wait. They said they were going to wait it out, but we know Leon's history. So I will be watching Mitchell Robinson.
This is one of those things where you can tell me I'm thinking too much into it as a fan. When Mike Brown said, I don't know if it was you asked the question or somebody else a week or so ago about that they're working with, and he said this, I think before this, working with Mitch's agent or agents on the workload management, whatever the hell they're calling it. I was like, oh, maybe that's a good sign for them agreeing, let's kick the can down the road and we'll deal with this in the offseason. But should I not read that much into it?
I wouldn't read into it like that. You're saying that because they're working with his agent that it's a better chance that he'll resign.
Yeah, something. Oh, yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't read into it like that, but I would say that that's part of him maintaining his value, whether it is to resign with the Knicks or it's to hit free agency and telling another team that I'm healthy, I'm ready to go, and you should pay me a lot of money. I have actually wrote an article on this recently. I did talk to 2 agents. I talked to Bobby Marks.
I saw those numbers that you got.
Yeah.
Someone said 3 for 60, right?
No, that was too high. And actually, after that, I had texted let me just look at my.
Yeah, no, sure. I'm embarrassed. I should have the article up because I read it and I was like, oh, that's interesting because I saw you got Bobby for it. And I said, well, but it reminded me actually of the article that you wrote about Deuce about a year ago about what his value would be on the open market. And you got a lot of disparate answers, which I found very fascinating. And
yeah.
And then this one, same deal. I thought you got some different perspectives.
Yeah, I think the consensus from the 4 people I talked to was mid-level exception because the teams with cap space, probably maybe the Lakers are going to have some space. I think the Clippers are going to have some space. Maybe they would be interested, but if you're looking at the teams with cap space, you don't really see a good fit. And then the one that didn't make the article because he got back to me afterwards is an executive. Feel like he'll get some sort of make good contract in line with what he's on now. Just isn't available enough to cash in maybe 2 years at around the mid-level money, maybe less, call it 2 for 26. Or maybe he'll take a team option for a higher salary in year 1. That would be 2 for 32 with a team option in year 2. So there you go.
Mitch is so fascinating to me because look, crazy shit happens. I just don't think that there's any humanly possible way for them to replace what he gives you at peak form, at peak health on like this trade deadline. But at the same time, I feel like you kind of taking your life into your hands with the health situation and then obviously the free agency. So
yeah, and as Bobby Marks pointed out, you're paying a lot of money for somebody who's only playing 20 minutes. You're paying for 20 minutes a game and not every game. So it's tough to justify paying a lot of money.
Yeah. I was, you know what? Let me end on this. Cause I just remembered it. Speaking of money, KARL-ANTHONY Towns was extension eligible, this past summer. I didn't hear anything. Maybe you obviously heard something, about like discussions, like, is that hovering over anything at all? The fact that he does have like this potential to sign this big extension, or is this just like both parties have agreed, like we'll deal with that later?
I can't report anything because I don't know whether he's pissed off or his agent's pissed or whatever. I don't know. Okay. So anything I'd say is speculation.
I don't want to put you in a.
Obviously, we're all human and we want to feel appreciated. And you give extensions to everybody. You gave big money to Jalen. Well, you didn't give it. You gave him the max. You gave basically the max to Mikal. You gave almost the max to OG. So yeah, I mean, everybody's human.
Very fair. What's your prediction? Is this team making the finals?
So I haven't thought about it too much, but yes, I will say yes. Now Boston is a huge wild card here. Detroit looks damn good, man.
Do you think the Knicks are afraid of Detroit? Not afraid. Afraid's the wrong word. They're not afraid, but like
I think it looked like a terrible matchup in that game in Detroit. They look slow and old, and I was like, man. And you wonder how much of that was Josh Hart not being there because I brought it up before, but them not even to be able to bring up the ball without exhausting Jalen was a huge problem. You bring in Josh Hart, and a lot of these teams, including the Pistons in the playoffs, were putting centers on him, which means Josh could just you give Josh the ball and you just let him bring it up and handle the ball forever. Nobody's going to bother him. The center's not going to pick him up full court. So I think just having Josh in the game really changes the dynamic, especially depending on how you play him. But they just, in that one game without Josh in Detroit, they just didn't look good.
I want to respect Detroit because I respect how they play. It reminds me a lot of how the Knicks used to play. But like, if they get, like a Michael Porter Jr. or God forbid, a Lauri Markkanen, then that's a red alert situation. As of right now, again, I take them very seriously, but I'm not. I would pick the Knicks as of now, but reserve the right to change that. I've already kept you too long. Steph Bondy, you are a legend on the beat. More importantly than that, you're just one of the good guys out there. Anything you want to plug, promote, say before we get you out of here?
No, man, we keep reading the New York Post. We got practice today in Sacramento, so we'll get a story out of that, and then Mike Brown's big return to Sacktown tomorrow night.
Tribute video?
I don't think so. I don't think the owner would want to do that, but who knows? Maybe. I don't know how they ended. Scott Perry's here too, by the way.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Maybe the Knicks should wheel out a little TV on wheels to give Scott Perry a road tribute video. Scott seems like a nice guy.
He is. Nice guy. And good he got another opportunity. I was a little surprised, but he got another opportunity, so he's going to try to make the most of it. We'll see how it goes.
Steph, you're the man. Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. For anybody who is not watching, Steph is a little sweaty because he went for a run before this, and he has been holding off a shower, which I'm sure he wants to take advantage of right now. So I'm going to let him go. Everybody out there, thanks for checking out another episode of the Knicks Film School podcast. We will be back with more fun and games before you know it. Peace out.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app.